Hi guys, it's Siva. I wanted to talk a little bit about the very awesome seminar that I went to yesterday that was Top Dog. If you know anything about the founding of Dog Brothers, you know that it started out with a real contact stick fighting group, and the three founding members, Crafty Dog, Salty Dog, and Top Dog, are sort of the ones who really made it happen as far as, a tribe with gathering and fighting and bringing up new fighters and things like that, testing those techniques. Top Dog was so named because he was the best fighter and, he was the top dog. It was a very special and unique opportunity to get to train him because not only does he do seminars very infrequently, but he's actually retiring from doing them after this year. He has one seminar left now, and it will be the one at the East Coast camp in Pennsylvania that is Crafty Dog, Lonely Dog, and Top Dog. So this was basically his second to last seminar. And it was only like 45 minutes away from us. So we really, really wanted to go, my husband and I. So we did. And it was really, really great. Top Dog is a stellar martial artist, still even 3 decades later. And the seminar was just really, really good. So if you've ever seen any of the original Dog Brothers material, he was in the original VHS, but you can also find it online on YouTube and on the Dog Brothers Association website. You've seen him. He's very, very strong. He's a big guy. He's like 6'4" or something and muscular. But he's also extremely graceful and smooth, impressively so, especially for his size, but just very, very fluid and very, very compelling to watch. You're very impressed by it when you see it. And also the stuff he's explaining and teaching, there's substance there too. It's not just, hey, look at how cool I look, right? There's a lot of good concepts there. And a lot of people have watched those videos lots of times and seen them lots of times, but you don't have the opportunity to train with him in person. So again, very, very special that we got to do that. So the seminar was at the Training Mat, which is a martial arts school in Moreno Valley that's run by Foo Dog. Him and his students were there. There was about, I want to say 20 to 30 people at the seminar. I'm kind of bad at estimating volume of people. But despite how many people were there, Top Dog took the time to go around, and he wanted to every single partner group or solo person, he wanted to demo, he wanted to give you feedback, see how you're doing, give you tips, things like that. Also constantly encouraging people to ask him questions or hey, if you have a scenario in your fights and you're not sure how to deal with it, just ask me about it, because a lot of the guys there are people who fight at the gatherings, not just martial arts nerds like me. But yeah, a lot of individual attention and useful individual attention, not just oh, I'm going to go around, good job, next person sort of thing. Took the time to give feedback and tips and no, try this with me and try this with your partner and try this other thing and maybe do it a little different. Just really good feedback and a lot of time that he spent doing that. We didn't practice a huge amount of material, but we got to practice what we did do a lot, and we got a lot of in-depth discussion and deeper analysis of that material. And that's actually one of the things that I really like about almost every Dog Brothers seminar that I've ever done, regardless of who was teaching it. So one of the things, I'm going to say this, listen to me all the way through before you start arguing with me in the comments. Dog Brothers, a lot of the material is very simple. And I just mean that in terms of mechanics. The concepts are very basic. There's not a lot of flash and fluff there, partly because they want it to be high percentage stuff. And the more moving parts you have, the more complicated it can get. So the actual functional technique is often very simple, but there's a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of levels to it. But what makes it nice about being simple in terms of not just your ability to reproduce it later in a fight and to train it and without having to, worry about 500 pieces being exactly perfect, is that at seminars, it is really, really easy for me to retain stuff. Normally I have a really hard time at seminars with remembering stuff, and I'm not good at, some people are good at taking notes in seminars. I'm not good at that. If I'm taking notes, I'm not listening to what they're saying. I can't do both at once. And so often what I'll do is I'll listen to the seminar, and then on the way home, if we stop and get food, or when I get home or back to the hotel, I'll type up the notes or I'll write up the notes. So I have notes while it's fresh and while I remember it, but not directly from the seminar. But one of the nice things that I've always liked about every Dog Brother seminar I've been to is that at the end of the day, I actually remember a lot of it, which is really, really nice. I've been to some other seminars where they just show you so much stuff, and some of the stuff is really complicated, and some of and it's cool stuff. It's stuff you really like, but it's very, very hard to remember, and especially for me as someone who's fairly new to martial arts, like I don't have that vocabulary, the physical, I can't reference other things. I can be like, oh, that thing in Wing Chun that's called this, and then you do this thing in Silat that's called it, right? Because there is a lot of, I know it's a little taboo to say, but right, the moves are often the same between a lot of arts, and they're not actually special and unique to particular arts. But you know what I mean? If you have that experience, you have that vocabulary, and it probably makes it easier to record stuff, either mentally or on paper. And I don't have that. So, but again, if you have a very simple concept, like, okay, we're going to practice blocks and you need to reinforce it with your hand. You can maybe punch it out. You want to try to have your sticks at 90-degree angles for each other for maximum strength. And like, there's a lot of depth there, and, they can go into why you do it and the different angles and like the different directions of the blocks and things like that. But like the very basic concept of that is simple, right? So it's easy to remember. It's easy to go home and practice. So that's my very long-winded way of saying that, like, we didn't do a lot of like really complicated stuff or a huge volume of stuff, but the stuff that we did practice was good material, definitely worthwhile, things to consider and to practice and to think about, and a lot there, even though on the surface looks very simple, but again, a lot of depth there. And just some of the concepts, like one of the things my husband mentioned is you do the fang choke where you're putting the puño of the stick on, someone's Adam's apple or their voice box or whatever. He was saying, don't just use it like a bayonet, right? You want to kind of like push with it and push up, like maybe you're uprooting a plant, or to the side, depending on the angle of their head or something. And that was sort of something that either had never been expressed to us before, or we just never grasped before. And so that was sort of just a new perspective on it that really like lended more life to the technique. We started the day off doing power shots. In fact, and he went around to review everyone doing the power shots. And my arm is really sore. I will just say that right now, because, well, for one, I'm out of shape, getting in shape, but out of shape. I was the last person that he reviewed, and initially he took a lot of time going around to people. Later he sped it up a little bit. I mean, still a couple minutes with each person, but initially it was a lot more time. And so we were outside doing power shots and practicing, and by the time he got to me, I had been just doing power shots straight for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer. I wasn't looking at the time. And my arm was just exhausted. In fact, I told myself partway through, I'm like, man, stop doing them full power. Because from the start, I was going like as hard as I could. Whistling that stick, I'm trying to do it as best I can. And then I was like, oh, I should maybe tone it back a little bit. Or by the time he gets to me, I'm going to be like, spaghetti arms, because I'm not going to have the energy to do it anymore. So I did tone it down a little bit towards the end, but it's still a long time going really hard. So while I'm mostly in one piece, this arm, if I'm hold it out at all, it's just, not great at all, even if I'm just resting it on an armrest or something. So good job, me. Otherwise, I'm in pretty good shape, actually. I was really worried. I hurt my back on Monday. The seminar was on a Saturday. And in fact, I hadn't done any of my workouts that week and stuff. I was taking it really easy because I didn't want to mess up my back. And I had been in a lot of pain on like Tuesday and Wednesday. So I was nervous about the seminar. I didn't want to mess up my back more, but I also wanted to be able to do things and not be like, ugh. So, but I'm feeling okay now. My back is okay, but my arm is sore, and somehow I have bruises all over my legs. We didn't really do any sparring or anything like that. We did some, playful techniques, but like not anything that I would think would really cause a bruise. But I have like 5 or 6 bruises on my legs now from that. So, but that's fine. I'm not I'm not adverse to bruises. You can't do martial arts and be adverse to bruises because bad news for you. But yeah, so that's just my very long rambling about the seminar. I was just very impressed not only with the quality of the content, but Top Dog himself, just a very, very nice guy, very helpful, very humble. He has a lot of years of stick fighting and martial arts experience, and he's very, very good at taking that experience and distilling it into wisdom that he can share with you, and tips and advice and concepts and ideas and things to think about. And so it was very nice for the students. You could get a lot out of it. But yeah, it was just a really great seminar, and like the other seminars that I have done with the various Dog Brothers, I really enjoyed it. I do a lot of non-Dog Brothers seminars too, but those ones just, I like making videos on them because they've been really good. The Lonely Dog seminar was great. I did one of my very first martial arts seminars ever that I did was with Pappy Dog and Poi Dog. And that's, again, one of my favorite seminars that I've ever done. And years later, I remember most of the stuff because, again, it was very simple concepts, but with a lot of depth to them, a lot of layers that for you to unpack. So yeah, it was a really good day, and I'm pretty sore and tired now, but I'm really glad that I went. And next weekend I have a women's self-defense seminar with another Dog Brother. It's not a Dog Brother seminar, it's a women's self-defense seminar, but Dog Brother who works in security, also a lot of fighting experience, and someone I know from just playing around is a very, very good teacher. He's very good at explaining things and seeing things that need to be seen. And so I'm excited to do that seminar with him. I think I'll get a lot out of it. Yeah, so that's just my update. I haven't made a video in a while. I'm still working out, trying to get in shape. But that's an ongoing process. And yeah, so anyway, thank you for listening to me ramble, and I'll see you in the next video.